Here's what I would dance around and I would say. He hasn't coached his last game.
No.
Now, whether or not it's for the Patriots, that conversation is taking place either now or at some point today or has already happened, whatever the case is. They're going to be
as we speak
communicating what the next steps are.
Yep.
It certainly feels like he has, just based on the momentum over the last several weeks, has just built up, continued to keep building, that he's not going to be the head coach of the New England Patriots moving forward.
Bill said this morning he would concede maybe giving up the GM duties.
Absolutely. So I was going to say that conversation has started to turn over the last several weeks that, hey, maybe the front office is getting in the way of him just focusing in on coaching, because it's hard to do both. It's so hard to do both if you don't have somebody there that understands the players that you need for your systems. You know, you look at some of the coaches that were able to do it, okay, and still be successful. But at some point, they, too, had to relinquish that right and allow somebody else to do it.
You've made the case again and again. Bill lost 4 or 5 right-hand men who were really
absolutely.
helping him out.
And you think about when Mike Holmgren was trying to do it in Seattle. Eventually, he had to say, you know what, I just got to coach football. I can't do this anymore. And then you start to look at, okay, what if he is gone, Michael? Let's just assume him and Mr. Kraft and his son Jonathan make a decision to say, you know what, it's run its course. We want to start over. We want to build something totally new. We're going to hand the keys to Gerard Mayo. We're going to allow you to go coach. There's opportunities from the Chargers that'll be there with a quarterback and some defensive players. Washington just got rid of Ron Rivera. Now they hired Bob Myers along with Rick Spielman to come in and oversee the hiring process of their
basketball Bob Myers.
Yeah, the basketball Bob Myers.
With the basketball Magic Johnson, who
is part owner along with Josh Harris. But you also got to think about what they're trying to do in terms of building a strong foundation in Washington, something that was built in Golden State with Bob Myers. And Rick Spielman clearly knows how to pick and select coaches and pick players and do all those things because he did it at Minnesota for a very, very 30 years in the business as an executive. So, you know, he knows what he's doing. So maybe there's a Belichick that's sitting there. Carolina, I don't think he would do that because the owner is too meddling all the time and he doesn't want to deal with that mess. And then now there's Atlanta that may say, hey, maybe there's an opportunity. And I'm sure there's going to be 2 or 3 more jobs before the end of the day.
Washington had thrown a name in a hat, and I hope he doesn't come in the NFC East. You know what I mean? I really don't want to see him in the East. But I saw that Washington may be considered or may be interested. I watched Jimmy Johnson, my coach, yesterday, because I watch him because I know how close he is with Bill Belichick. You know, I know Bill comes to spend a couple of weeks with Coach Johnson every year down in Key West where they just fish and kind of talk about ball, you know, how to build champions and how to coach guys, and they love it. So I watched Coach yesterday because I figure, you know, no matter what, if anybody knows, Coach will know. You know, and Coach looked into the camera, Coach Johnson looked into the camera, and he gave a message to Bill. And I thought that told me something because he talked about you have nothing to prove there. You've done what you needed to do. You've been successful. And you should be proud of what you've done. And if you still want to coach, go and attack coaching and do it somewhere else. I thought that told me, yes, he will be somewhere else. You know, yes, he will be somewhere else. He still wants to coach. It will be somewhere else. You said, Skip, that he said he was willing to give up the GM duties, and I thought it meant somewhere else. I don't know.
Maybe.
Right, but if he meant, and I think that'd be interesting because if you're used to calling all the shots, and now you say I'm not calling all of those shots, I've relinquished, or they've taken them away from me, it loses. Even Bill Belichick loses some walk-around power when that comes. So why would Bill weaken himself by saying, in New England, I'm giving up that power because I got to walk around these same players. I don't know if he'll do that, but he will going other places. You go places. I thought that's what he was saying.
If you see
because I'm willing to work with you guys.
Yes, it's not giving up the power because at the end of the day, I'm going to align myself with who I want to align myself with, but I'm going to allow them to kind of, you know, pick, not necessarily pick, but gather the information to bring to me so we can decide together, opposed to a sole sign-off that he has in New England. He has a sole sign-off in New England, where if you look at the Chargers, he brings in, I don't know, Louis Riddick. I'm just using somebody that wants to be a general manager.
Sure.
Bring in Louis Riddick along the side of him with the Chargers, for instance. Louis is doing the day-to-day, all of the ins and outs and whatnot. He's just coaching ball because he knows what type of players he wants. He's not bringing him a 5'10" linebacker. He's bringing him a 6'3", 245-pound linebacker because that's what he's looking for. So I can see him doing that for sure. No question about it.
Okay. So forgive me for this, but I do not share the same reverence that you both have for Bill Belichick. And this is not new for me. I've been saying this for, I don't know, 10, 12 years on national television. I think he could be the greatest defensive mind this game has ever seen. So I'm going to give you, if you want to call him the greatest defensive coordinator ever, I give you that. I do not think he's a great head football coach. I believe that Tom Brady made him. I always said Tom was 75% of the equation in New England because he was the leader of the team, and he saved them so many times in fourth quarters and overtimes of playoff games because he won his first 6 Super Bowls with game-winning drives in the fourth quarter and overtime. So the point is, if you look at Bill's record hard, you see that he's 13 games under 500 without Tom Brady. And once Tom left, you just look at it, he started to get exposed, and it started to fade and fade and fade until it hit bottom this year at 4-13. 4-13 because Bill doesn't know how to find a quarterback. He doesn't know how to coach a quarterback. He coaches them to smithereens because he's hard on quarterbacks. He was hard on Tom, but Tom could take it. Tom rose above it and flourished and thrived on it. So to me, if he goes elsewhere, history will repeat. I don't think he's going to be a savior elsewhere. And back to the Washington Commanders, Michael, Josh Harris scares me because I know Josh and I know the success he's had not only in business but with the 76ers. Magic Johnson scares me like beyond belief because he's a basketball great who just knows sports. He just knows people.
That's what he understands. People.
Okay, Bob Myers scares me because he's brilliant at what he does and what he did for Golden State. Rick Spielman scares me because he was always very good. So the brain power there is supreme. But if Bill went there, it wouldn't scare me. That's just me, and maybe I'll eat these words, but I don't think so. But that wouldn't scare me unless you made him sort of the glorified head coach / defensive coordinator, and you said, you handle that side of the ball, and we're going to go out and find the greatest offensive coordinator available out there, and he's going to run the offensive side. But I don't know, maybe it's Eric Bieniemy.
Right. Let me do a little this. Let me do this. Because a couple of things, you said here that I want to address here. I do believe that, of course I believe Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback to ever live. But we started this show and we talked about this show. Great quarterback play overrides everything.
It just does.
I love how you started that conversation when you say you believe he's probably the greatest defensive coordinator to ever live. Because he brought in so many innovative things in defense, and especially in the secondary, that made you hold that ball just a tad longer. Lawrence Taylor get back there and knock your head off. You know what I mean?
When he coordinated the Giants.
When he coordinated the Giants.
Yep.
But now when you start saying about his success tied to Tom's, as important as quarterback play is, Tom made last-second drives. Those last-second drives, he had victory. He got victories on. The only reason he got those victories on because the head coach had instilled such a discipline in each one of those players that his ability doesn't get affected while he's driving the ball down the field, making the plays that he can make. Those linemen, those receivers, they were steadfast focused, not because of Tom Brady only, but also because of how the head coach made that Patriot way. I remember talking to Richard Seymour. Seymour was afraid to come talk to you on the sideline. He was so focused in the game. That was head coach Bill Belichick having them so focused. That's why Tom was able to have success. Tom didn't have that focus in Tampa late. That's probably why he retired also.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's that old 80-20 rule. A person gives you 80% of everything, but you're missing this 20. And at the time you're missing it, the 20 seemed bigger than the 80. So the love that he wasn't giving Tom felt he needed until he got it without the discipline.
Okay, so do you guys think Bill can go elsewhere?
I do think Bill can go somewhere.
I think if he finds the right situation, yes, I do.
Now winning the
Absolutely
Super Bowl is something else because we were taught no other coach has ever gone to won a Super Bowl one team and going to the other to win a Super Bowl. And there's a lot of greats. Mike McCarthy, you mean to tell me Mike McCarthy gonna be the first? Y'all gonna let that happen? You know I ain't gonna never shut up if y'all let Mike McCarthy beat the Bill Belichick.
Do me a favor now. Why don't you shut up now?
I'm just
Why don't you just do that for me?
Never shut up. They ain't gonna never stop.
Inbounds or out of bounds for the Saints to score a rub-it-in TD from kneel-down formation yesterday. We debate next.
That is church. Once he put the store on,
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.